Hello, welcome to Cinema Savvy, and welcome to our preview of the 2019 year in films. I'm Chris Garner, joined today with George Aldridge, and as I just said, we're pretty much going to be reeling off the entire list of films, not the entire list, but ones to watch out for, highly anticipated ones and one that we feel are worth talking about. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of also going to be a preview for our, I mean, you said this before we went live, a preview for all of our reviews on the channel. These, you know, as the year goes on, you will probably see reviews on all of these movies that we're going to talk about, whether they be, you know, Oscar nominated ones, whether they be the big hitters in September, or whether it be the likes of Star Wars at the very end of the year. But we're going to cover it all. And I believe you have the list of all the movies right in front of you, right?
I do. I've got a Word document with some neat titles. So what we're going to do, this is new territory to both of us.
Yeah, totally.
So we kind of were discussing how we're going to do this, and I still don't have a complete answer as such. So what we've kind of gone over is we've got the month, we've got the films from that month. Now we're using, as we always do, UK release dates. Mm-hmm. So some of these, particularly Oscar season, they're already out in America, but we always get them late. So if there's any one or two little minors, don't worry about that. It's purely because we're using UK release dates as we always do. So it's going to be something new for all of us. We've never done a preview. There's just a lot of films coming out this year. And this preview, we've kind of combined what we've had a look at and what we know is coming. Tayte's chipped in. We've got some of his as well. So this is new territory for all of us. But likewise, I know we're kind of, less than a week into January.
I was going to say this is our first video of 2019, isn't it? So
it's going to be very interesting to see how we do it. Mm-hmm. But in order to take, how do we do? We still genuinely don't know. If we just go forwards for January, I mean, it's Oscar season, right? So what comes out this time of year? Not really any blockbusters. Have a look at January. We've got 4 films on our list, and we've got 3. Well, is it 3? No, sorry. Yes, three generic Oscar films plus 1 non-Oscar film, which we can get to. So if we somehow attempt this now, starting up, coming about already out, we've got The Favourite, which neither of us have seen as of yet.
It's in cinemas currently now. I'll probably, because we were discussing this as well, like we don't know whether to wait, because when it gets closer to Oscar season, all of our local cinemas just re-release the movies anyway, even if they're out, obviously to build up that hype for Oscars. So we'll probably dump all of the Oscar reviews towards the time of the Oscar ceremony itself. You know, we'll get a playlist together and stuff like that. But I've been seeing clips of it and stuff like that. It looks like your typical Oscar-nominated film, doesn't it? As most of them are, to be honest. But, you know, it might be all right. It looks like it's got a comedic edge to it. It looks like it's got some good performances in it. But other than that, I really don't know much else about it.
I keep getting it confused with Mary Queen of Scots. Not it's because it's that very stereotypical Oscar film. Oh, it's about the British monarchy set in the 1500s. So I kept thinking The Favourite, is that the one with Rachel Weisz and Olivia Colman? Or is that the one with Saoirse Ronan and
Margot Robbie?
I know which is which, but it's so, you don't really get British monarchy films these days. I mean, I think The Crown's kind of kickstarted this kind of feisty appetite for the monarchy, which is fine, but as long as they just don't overdo it too much. But Favourite, like I said, nearer the time, I should have better internet. I'll be able to catch them. It should be a bit easier. Cinemas release. I haven't even seen Star is Born yet, because that will probably get a cinema re-release, or the Blu-ray will come out just in time for that.
I think it's still in cinemas, isn't it? Like, even if it's just one showing per night, like it'll get a bigger release, as you said, towards Oscar season. But that's probably like one of the longest cinema runs of the year, of last year anyway.
Because it's the right time, you know. You had big people going in October. It's kind of drifted, and Golden Globes is tonight, except for a load there. As it starts, we've got BAFTA nominations this Wednesday. It just gets that time of year where they last in cinemas, and they might as well. I mean, Black Klansman's out on Blu-ray. They got that timing perfectly over here, so that it's out on Blu-ray ready for nominations this week, so people can sort of get a hold of it to have a look. So again, it's this kind of stereotypical Oscar. I mean, Stan and Ollie's one I'm intrigued by, because that's not really had much attention, and you'd assume like Stan and Ollie, a biopic about, obviously, Laurel and Hardy, you think that would be everywhere, but it's gone very quiet, which is kind of worrying but intriguing at the same time. You never really know what's going to happen with stuff like that.
And I think this one's going to be definitely up for like performances maybe, or like makeup and stuff like that. But when I did my reaction video, I mean, obviously I know who Laurel and Hardy are, but I've never actually watched any of their older films or any of their sketches, and loads of people were recommending me like ones to watch. you know, like the particular classic sketches they've done and films like that. So maybe I'll give a few a watch before I go and see this one. Now that we're kind of out of December, it's relaxed a little bit, like in the lead up, so it's giving me more time to go back and watch some stuff. We'll talk about going back and watching stuff on our next movie as well, which I guess is Glass, isn't it? That's the next one that we're talking about.
Glass. So I have not seen same. Oh, well, I definitely haven't seen Split or Unbreakable. I was told years ago by my friends, watch Unbreakable, is your kind of film, you'll love it. Then when Split came out, I heard this is actually connected to Unbreakable. There's going to be a third one that ties it all together, which was so bizarre, but made it so interesting because Split had very good reviews. So one of Shyamalan's, I mean, he's on a bit of a resurgence, to be fair to him. I didn't see that horror film, which I think you and Tate did.
Oh, was it The Visit? Was it? Is that what it was called?
I can't remember. It was about 2 years ago where he did a film that wasn't awful, and everyone was kind of up in arms. Then he dropped Split, which is again meant to be fantastic. So
The Visit, from 2015, that one came out.
Oh god, that's that long ago already.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see Split and to see. I'm just excited to watch it because again, I don't know. I know from people that this is the kind of film we like, and having this like 20-year sequel to film from a year ago, it gives it this different edge. So it's kind of very exciting to see it.
He's made a cinematic universe out of his own films that I don't know if were ever intended to be connected in the first place. Judging by the time frame, I'm assuming Unbreakable was going to be its own thing when he made it, and then he's kind of retrofitted Unbreakable into Split, and then
that's what
onwards. Yeah,
it's kind of just like teaser goes, oh, by the way, this is in this universe. I mean, the concept of Split was great, but with Glass, it's out on the 18th here. I will watch them both before then. I know that Split's on Netflix, and I know that Unbreakable, I've got a copy of on Blu-ray, so it will be getting around to them, and you should expect reviews for the three because it might end up being a good trilogy, a very weird trilogy, but a Shyamalan trilogy of good films.
But because I haven't seen Unbreakable, I have stayed away from all trailers for Glass. Like
exactly.
I think I've seen like clips and stuff like that. Obviously, I know the cast and things like that, but I mean, I don't know the ending to Split. I don't know the ending to Unbreakable wholeheartedly. I know a little bit of it, but it's going to be a very interesting watch going back to it when we do our reviews for Unbreakable and Split going into Glass. But I'm looking forward to it. It looks intriguing.
Definitely. And then to kind of cap off our journalists, we've got Vice, which is already out in America. This is, again, Oscar film, but this is Christian Bale playing Vice President Dick Cheney. I'd say outright he's currently the favourite for Best Actor.
Yeah, definitely. I think he's got a good shot at it this time. Basically, all you need to do is put on a voice and wear a lot of makeup, right, and put on some weight. Like Gary Oldman did it.
I mean, I don't think Gary Oldman put on as much weight as Christian Bale did. But Christian Bale, I mean, he is remarkably consistent weight changes to abnormal weights, whether being too thin, too fat, or in peak sort of physical fitness, like sort of Dark Knight, all doing that in the space of like a year at a time. I remember watching what film was it, The Fighter, and being blown away, and I was only when was that, 2009? Oh god, that's 10 years ago. Jesus Christ.
We're both getting to that stage now, aren't we, where we're like going back to movies. Like before we went live, you said that the 20th anniversary of Phantom Menace is coming up. I'm like, fucking hell.
I said, that's the first of the film I went to the cinema to watch. And I was 3, and I'm just kind of sat there like, oh my lord.
Yeah,
it's that age. I thought it was bad doing 10 years ago The Dark Knight, but Christ almighty, 20 years ago Phantom Menace.
It's catching up.
It's a horrible factor. Next thing you know, it will be like 50 years of Star Wars. And we've just had a 40th anniversary, but January's looking very sort of Oscar baity, and then heading into February, we've got the Oscars. We've got If Beale Street Could Talk, which is on the high tech ones. We've got BAFTA's Oscar in that point. Then we've got a couple of animated films.
Yeah, so this is my jam, like How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, which is the third and final film, I believe, in the, I think they're keeping it a trilogy now, How to Train Your Dragon. I was really late to the party watching the How to Train Your Dragon films, but, you know, a couple of years later when 1 and 2 were already out, I went back and watched them. I think I did a back-to-back double feature of them. And they're among my favourite animated films of all time, so really eagerly anticipating the third one. In terms of the plot, it looks kind of bog standard, but like what I love is like the characters and especially the music and everything. I'm looking forward to seeing that all wrapping up. And a big one, like this was an absolute surprise, and we talked about this when we did Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse as well, although they're not directing this one. The Lego Movie 2, the second part. The Lego Movie is without a doubt one of my favourite animated films ever made. Completely caught me by surprise. Now, whilst I haven't been blown away by the trailers for this second one, and I still believe that it won't capture the lightning in a bottle as much as that first movie did. I'm just looking forward to seeing all these characters coming back. The Lego movie has one of the best ensemble cast of characters I've ever seen, from Chris Pratt's like everyday man of Emmett, and you've got Wild Style Batman and all the other gang as well, like Charlie Day's in there as well. I'm just looking forward to seeing these characters come back.
I'm excited for like it's the little cameos, like when like Lego Gandalf was like in that room for like a minute, and you had the Star Wars cameo, like, and what you got to think, look at the Lego license, like, so who's going to make a cameo? Are they going to drop their Doctor Who? Are they going to drop that James Bond? Like, I'm just so intrigued to see what the films. I mean, you're the same as you. The trailers haven't done anything for me. But then again, I watched the first one off the back of looking at average trailers, but hearing great things. Same as Spider-Verse. I mean, Spider-Verse trailers look great, so it's unfair to compare, but you've got obviously that Phil Lord's connection to it, Lord and Miller, and it kind of feels like that, lightning in a bottle. You described the first one perfectly, but it's going to be, Lego Batman was good fun. Ninjago I didn't see, but it's considering they've dropped 2 films in between sequels, it's interesting to see how it fares and whether they'll do more. Again, there is one big advert. I don't like the fact that Lego announced their entire catalogue as soon as the second trailer came out, and they're all on sale. So it's kind of like, is this? I mean, obviously, it's all money. It's one giant Lego advert, but I'm very interested to see what this one's going to like have in store and see what it does, because I didn't like the Will Ferrell stuff in the first one. I didn't like the ending of the whole humans in the last 20 minutes.
Oh, you didn't like that?
No,
I liked that. I thought that had like a nice bit of heart to it at the end.
I just, I don't know. But that's just me, isn't it? But I think it took the impact away, and that's why it didn't get nominated for Best Animated Film, because it had like live action for 10 minutes. I don't think people clocked onto that.
Yeah.
But fingers crossed that Spider-Verse gets that animation win.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I don't want like Wreck-It Ralph 2 to win. Hopefully it wins. What else have we got in February?
We've got one of the worst looking. Now there's this. We get the trend of video game films to live action. They're terrible. There's an even worse trend of that, which is anime to live action. Now, this thing, Alita Battle Angel. Now, I was at the cinema with Tayte. It looks horrific. Me and Tayte watching Fantastic Beasts at the cinema, and this trailer came on for a film. And it says, like, this looks really good. I was like, what is it? This is Battle Angel. This thing looks absolutely horrifying. It looks really scary, the CGI in the face. It doesn't look right. It looks like some kind of twisted horror film. Because, oh no, this is famous anime. So it would be great. Gets to the end of the trailer, and even he's like, Christ almighty, like, this looks terrible. I think it got delayed. It reminds me of that Mortal Engines that bombed. It just looks like it's going to be like a cross between that, like every other anime film that everyone's hated since. I don't think people realize that anime doesn't work in live action. There's a reason that they're anime. It'd be like Pixar. I mean, Disney classics can work in live action, but Pixar wouldn't. And I have that feeling with anime, that anime is like Pixar. It doesn't transition into live action purely because the stuff that anime is, they do it because it's impossible to have in live action. It's so expensive, and that's why they look like crap CGI. They're like video game cutscenes, and that's exactly what Alita looks like.
Well, you mentioned video game. Whenever I see the trailer for it, it looks like a poor man's Ready Player One in terms of like the graphics in it. But it's that horrible, like even the female character in Ready Player One, but you could kind of get on board with it in that because it was like the video game avatars. That weird, horrible, uncanny valley effect where it kind of looks real, but also like her eyes are like, and like it looks terrifying. I'm not going to go and see it, but you just watch it and think like, if you're going to do like that amount of CGI in the film and make it stylistically like that, you still do have like real people in it that they've like cyborged around. Like there's a guy in it that's like a real human face, but then he's got all this stuff going on. Just either make an animated film or have real cast in there, because this whole like weird in between with motion capture is just like killing me with this film. I won't be watching this film probably. But,
no, it looks. There's a reason it got delayed a lot, and I just keep seeing it being advertised at football games as well. That kind of caps off February. Then we've got March, which is the blockbusters are arriving. We've got if we start off with Us first. So this is the new Jordan Peele film. This looks great. I don't know if you did a reaction to the trailer.
No, I still haven't seen the trailer for this thing yet, but I'm sold on the director.
It's his follow-up to Get Out. You have the cast of Winston Duke, who is from Black Panther. I always forget his character's name. M'Baku. You've got M'Baku and Lupita Nyong'o. It is a psychological horror. The trailer he dropped on Christmas Day, and it was incredible. It looks terrifying, but in that great way. It looks more of a thriller. I think, again, to Get Out, people call it horror, but it's definitely a psychological thriller more than anything. It looks really good. I'm excited to see that.
Do you think it's chasing the tail too much of Get Out? Is it too similar in style and like it being a horror and everything like that?
I don't know. It certainly feels like a sort of consistency of the director, but it feels, how do I describe it? It's from the trailer. Of course, it's been one trailer. It doesn't feel kind of, I don't want to start kind of say the wrong words live on the internet. You know how Get Out was very much sort of not covering racism, but the principality of
absolutely, yeah.
You know what I'm kind of getting. There's none of that in this. This is just it's a family that something happens and then they're almost kind of cloned or something. It's really weird to describe, but it looks very creepy. But it has like some of them horror vibes from the trailer. You know, in Get Out, like there was that weird moment where the guy just went for that run, and didn't stop. If some of the bits in the trailer remind of that, it just feels very consistent. I think Jordan Peele's a very smart guy. Like, considering his background's comedy, he's done Get Out, he's won his Oscar, he's got the world at his fingers of what he wants to do. He's got people that want to work with him, and he's picked a very good cast. I think Lupita Nyong'o is probably one of the best actresses around at the minute. And bar some motion capture work as a yellow thing, she hasn't really done a bad role. So it looks like it looks very good. It looks very, very interesting. And again, it looks original. That's something you kind of want. But aside from us, we've then got Disney's juggernaut starting up. The Disney...
Well, before we move on to that very quickly, just in the comments, Brinsley's put he's more excited for Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone. I didn't even realize Twilight Zone was getting rebooted, but apparently it's going to be presented by Jordan Peele.
Yeah, I heard about this a while back. Now, I don't know if this is going to be, if it's TV or it's going to be a film.
I'm expecting this will be, it's CBS. This will be on TV, won't it? So,
I heard that Jordan Peele was kind of overseeing, he would be overseeing a new sort of reboot. I'm sorry, it was announced in September.
But again, that's Twilight Zone's very much horror, isn't it? And sci-fi and kind of, weird mystery stories. So he's still very much keeping, he might go down in history as like one of the best sort of modern horror directors if he does stay consistently with horror films. And
what I love is that he can do comedy so well, like P and Keel. I mean, he's going to be in Toy Story 4. We'll get to that later on, but Key and Peele have got like a double act in that. I think he's great. And I love the fact that he's purely, more than anything, his background is comedy, and he's just gone and smashed out a horror film, done well at the Oscars. It's not the typical Oscar, but then you look at the history.
I was going to say, the fact that a horror film is nominated at the Oscars, I know it did have other elements in there as well, like it wasn't wholeheartedly a flat-out horror film, but even still, it's billed as a horror film if you look at the genre of that film, so that's pretty good.
And I think with Get Out and Jordan Peele, it's, for me, I've always loved people that can if you get a good dramatic actor, he can't necessarily do comedy, but a lot of comedy actors can do drama, and sometimes you see this transition. And I think, if you look at not Michael Scott, what's his face? Oh God, I always forget his name. Steve Carell. His background, The Office, he's dropped that, done dramas, and he's had Oscar nominations. He's been great. You don't see as many sort of dramatic actors do comedy, and I don't think it's hard for people. But to go from sort of writing, producing, starring comedy to just outright horror, it's such an opposite of the other that it works, and it's very intriguing to see what's going to follow. But if this is as good as it looks, then it's going to be, I think, quite an experience. And I think essentially another Get Out, kind of that low-key film that everybody flocks to go and see. Certainly the marketing's from the creator of Get Out, that's just going to help it significantly. But it's coming out in an estranged month, surrounded by Captain Marvel and Dumbo.
I don't know how well it's going to do. It might pick up that cult following. But you just mentioned Dumbo. Let's get on to it. This is where Disney starts their onslaught of 2019.
I mean, technically, Captain Marvel's first. It doesn't, from the two trailers that have dropped, it's done nothing for me. That's me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are on that, have that idea of it. But I know a lot of fans of the comic books of the character, like a lot of criticism has been leveled to Brie Larson's portrayal of Captain Marvel, in that she seems very, I'm not going to say Mary Sue because I reserve that term for.
It looks very monotone.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. Like very monotone, no emotion, just nothing. I don't really get a sense of a character from her. She's just like a cardboard cutout. But then people say that her character in the comic book is very stoic. She's like a warrior woman with no emotion. Now, okay, you're honoring the comic book, but that does not make for an entertaining movie to see a character like that. we're only looking at trailers, so I'm sure once we get like a 2 and a bit hour, however long the movie is, she will have more character, hopefully. But I've always got that impression with Brie Larson. Like, I've never been that taken with her as an actress. Even in The Room, for example, or wait, was it just Room or The Room? I don't want to get mixed up with the title of the film. Room,
just Room, I think.
Yeah. Everyone loved her in that film. I didn't think she was great in that. Like, she seems one note in more or less every single role that she plays. There are some exceptions, obviously, but it's a Marvel movie. We've all got to go and see it because it's going to be like the lead into Infinity War, isn't it? So into Endgame. So
I bet like it'd be like Captain America. Like the opening scene is going to be like Sam Jackson with his pager evaporating, and then it will. But 1993, I don't know. I mean, I don't know a lot about Captain Marvel's history. I know that she's going to obviously be a key factor in Endgame. Mm-hmm. I want it to be good. I always want my films to be good that I want to watch, but 2 trailers in and has done nothing. Not many Marvel films have done 2 trailers and done nothing. I mean, it said on the news today that there's going to be some kind of sneak peek tomorrow. Maybe it'll be a film experience, but the only thing I'm looking forward to in that is Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, everyone knows on the channel our love for Ben Mendelsohn. So, and maybe they're playing a lot of stuff close to the chest. Like the stuff that we've seen in both trailers is kind of the same scenes and everything, just like from different angles and a few different shots. So maybe they're saving a lot of the impressive stuff for the final movie. But it'll be very interesting to see what it does at the box office because I don't think it's going to make a lot. I think it will make a decent amount. Obviously, it's still got Marvel's name attached to it, but
it'll make like 600 mil. I mean, which is still an abnormal amount. But you know, Marvel saving their really big figures for April with Avengers. But then we've got Dumbo, which you know what? A lot of people criticize these Disney remakes, which is fine. But Dumbo, of all of them, seems the most likely that say Disney weren't remaking every film. I feel as if Tim Burton would still want to make a Dumbo film and have asked to do one.
Yeah.
I've loved the trailers. I love Tim Burton, his wackiness, and seeing that second trailer with the circus, it felt like a Tim Burton film more than a Disney film. And I kind of want to, I really like, when it got announced, kind of like, I don't really care about Dumbo. Like, I didn't care too much as a kid with the animated one. But the more I've seen of it, like the posters that dropped last night, it's got a great cast. It's reuniting like Michael Keaton with Tim Burton. You've got to add Danny DeVito into the mix. You've got Eva Green, who you can't go wrong with. And then you've kind of got Colin Farrell, who I've always kind of liked. But it's a very good cast. And the trailer looked really nice. It looked quite sad. But I'm excited to see it again. I think that's more down to Tim Burton more than anything.
Yeah, and I've got to give a shout out to Brinsley here in the comments. He's got one of my favorite comments to sum up live action Disney. He's got, it's the cinematic equivalent of copying someone else's homework and calling it your own. And I kind of agree with that. With Dumbo, though, I'm kind of on the same page as you in that, I mean, I love the original Dumbo, the original 1940 something, I think it was, animated film. But the plot was very thin on the ground. The movie was about 80 minutes, if that, somewhere around that ballpark. And even the film, the narrative doesn't move at like a typical place. There's like lots of random scenes thrown in there, like the pink elephant scene kind of comes out of nowhere. Then you have the singing crows, which again, there's no sort of connective tissue. Where this movie, like obviously this is going to be like a 2-hour movie, so they're going to boost the story. They're going to add a lot of elements in. They've added a lot more human characters into it, like Colin Farrell and his family. But that's at least doing something new with it. We're still going to get those scenes that we all know. Like we know that the pink elephant scene's in there. We've seen that, you know, some other iconography, like the scene where Dumbo's mom's taken away. You're going to have those key scenes from it, but it looks like it is embellishing the story more. The fact that Michael Keaton's in there as well, who looks amazing. So I can't wait to see Michael Keaton in another movie. But for me, Tim Burton hasn't made a good film since Sweeney Todd, in my opinion. I've seen all of Tim Burton's movies. I still go and see them all now. But he's kind of hit this wall, especially with Alice in Wonderland, where, and I mean, that was another sort of Disney live action adaptation, not a direct remake, but it's still very much set in like Disney's world. He's gone with this very digital, glossy look to all his films now, like this sepia digital look, and Dumbo looks exactly the same. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, but my favorite Tim Burton is like his older films, like the Batman films or Beetlejuice or Edward Scissorhands. That very gothic, you know, practical, weird and wacky quality to it, where he seems to have lost that edge a little bit now with his films.
I want to address Brinsley's comment. I wouldn't say it's copying someone else's homework. It's like copying an essay from like 5 years ago that you wrote, but you're changing like the format. Like you know, like it's just Disney doing their own Disney things. It's their way. I mean, they just don't. They know what people want. I mean, I've kind of defended it. I'm sure I'm sure we're going to again probably bring this up with Aladdin, and probably Lion King probably more so than anything, because I think Aladdin we've got kind of got a joint opinion with.
Yeah.
With Disney, it's. I mean, I always said as a kid, I'd rather watch these films in live action. That's just naturally me. And as kids will grow up and they'll love them. I mean, they'll be able to watch both, which is fine. People are like that, that's fine. But being able to see these in live action is just, I really enjoy it. And I feel like I'm at the right age for it. I wouldn't want to say anything Pixar, but again, something like Dumbo transitions into live action. Again, with Tim Burton, that helps its cause. Whereas when we get to Aladdin, to me, that doesn't, for who they've hired, what they've hired, and why they've hired them, that does nothing for me. But I'm excited. It's like Charlie and Chocolate Factory. I love the Tim Burton Charlie and Chocolate Factory film. So many people hate it. Which, I mean, I love Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I love Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. If anything, the second one is more, what's the word? More honoured or more.
It's a better adaptation of the book.
Yeah, exactly.
More faithful adaptation.
Faithful. That's the one. That's the one. Like, I love the Tim Burton. I love the other one. I like both of them. You know, you can watch both. They sold them in double packs at shops, I think.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But I also get why people hated the Tim Burton one. I mean, one day, you know, and I'm not all in for this new Ryan Gosling, Willy Wonka prequel, whatever it was on the news ages ago. Someone said to me, "There's a new Charlie Chocolate Factory. What do you want to do?" I say simple: Jeff Goldblum and Taika Waititi. Done.
It's going to be Netflix now, isn't it? Because they're doing that.
The animated. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait for that. But I think with Dumbo, I think Dumbo is potentially Dumbo is going to go two ways. I think it's either going to be great or it's going to be poor. I feel that this could be Tim Burton's best one for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be. I mean, it looks like a Tim Burton film.
Yeah,
especially the trailer again, the circus,
the clowns, right? Like the circus stuff. Like if he goes all out with that, which I hope he does, then that might capture that magic of old school Tim Burton for me. I've also said like the fact that the animation on Dumbo, it looks like a real elephant. I think you're going to have more of that sympathetic and empathetic quality to like an animal being mistreated if it looks real on screen. Before it starts flying all over the screen, which brings us into April, and so we're gonna make more royalties now by hating on DC, but we kick off with Shazam. We've had one trailer for this thing at the moment, and you know, in all fairness, like I'll hold my hands up, I don't know much about the Shazam character. I know that he's a little kid, like a baseball player or something like that. He shouts Shazam, and he turns into this Superman-like superhero. Whether he's as wacky as he is in this trailer, it seems like they're going for this really sort of low-budget, off-the-wall superhero comedy, sort of like the film Super, if anyone watched that. It looks very much like that, but it's going with this very sort of juvenile sense of humor, which could work. Like, I really don't know what to think of it. The trailer that's come out so far, I haven't really liked it, in all honesty, but it could walk that line. It could be great. It could be terrible. But one thing I will say, it looks completely far removed from anything that we've seen so far in the DC cinematic universe. If the cinematic universe is still a thing at this point, because I don't even think they know at this point.
I don't know what to think. Like, I haven't seen Aquaman. I think that's fair to say. I finally witnessed Justice League at some point last year. I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember it fully. Shazam looks very... My issue with Shazam is that his most famous villain is Black Adam. The Black Adam film was announced first, starring The Rock, yours truly, and that The Rock was going to do a Black Adam film, and suddenly Black Adam is the main character, and then it was on a note, sorry, we are doing a Shazam film now, it's just going to be Shazam.
Yeah. I
don't know if Shazam, I mean, if it does, then fair play to DC. It doesn't come across as a DC film. It doesn't look like it's enhanced of DC, but I remember it referencing a lot of the Superman stuff about all the heroes playing with toys, and the trailer did nothing for me. Now, surely there's a second trailer due around about now, but I'm open as I mean it's the same with you. Like the DCU, I really like Man of Steel. That's the main film we disagree on in the DCU. I don't like Man of Steel. Well, sorry, I love Man of Steel. You don't. Everything else we kind of have a similar opinion on. It's just not very good. I'm sorry, it's just not. Wonder Woman was fine.
Yeah, I loved Wonder Woman,
and they made Fine like they made out Fine to be like an Oscar-winning Fine. Like no, like it was fine. Like they celebrated a fine. You know, I'm not into this whole Marvel v DC. I'm sick and tired of fanboys arguing. You know, but even at Star Wars, me and you argue. We both get bored of it. I've never known anything like the DC fans.
It's the most toxic fan base I've ever seen, and
Yeah.
I didn't even realize how toxic it was until Batman v Superman, and then it's become a running joke on the channel now, right? Like, it's just funny now.
I tagged you in a Facebook article last night when someone tried to compare Aquaman to Batman Begins, and I just sent you the clip from The Godfather and said, "Look at how they massacred my boy." You know, to compare Aquaman. I mean, I don't need to watch Aquaman. That does not get compared to Batman. The saddest thing about DC is that they're doing a DCU, which is fine, but they did a DCEU on the back of the Dark Knight trilogy, the pinnacle to me still of comic book films, comic book trilogies, series, franchises, you name it. To do a reboot of that character within 2 years and have that Batman, who was great in his kind of half film, BVS, and then he gets Justice League and he does not look like he wants to be there. And he will not be there. And, you know, the worst thing of the DC fans is that they kind of don't acknowledge the Dark Knight trilogy anymore because it's not part of the DC. And I'm there like, acknowledge it because it's the best you're ever going to get.
Yeah.
And it's the only thing you can compare to the MCU in terms of quality of the film. You know?
Mm-hmm.
It saddens me. I mean, Shazam, like, you know, if DC had 5 good films in a row, Shazam, that's fine. People don't trust DC because they haven't been consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I've seen Aquaman. It's hard to have that opinion. I don't really want to see Aquaman. That's why I haven't gone to the cinema to watch it. I will see it at some point. You know, I'm not avoiding it completely. There's just other things that I've wanted to see, like Spider-Man. There have been so many other things out in December that I've had to go to, like Bumblebee, Mary Poppins. Yeah. You know, that was 3 things I've watched over Aquaman. Now, if you just said to me 3 years ago, George, you're not going to watch Aquaman because there's going to be well, actually, I would have said yes over Transformers, over a Mary Poppins film, over an animated Spider-Man film. I'd have been like, what? Like, why wouldn't I want to watch this? And it gets to the point now, and I think it's the fans that put me off as well. It's just, I've had enough. And the money Aquaman has made is disgusting. It makes me aggravated at Lucasfilm for not releasing Solo in December. Because if Aquaman can make 900 million, I mean, if Venom, I said this last week, Venom made 800 million in October. Aquaman now made 900 million in December.
Fucking hell, it's almost cleared $1 billion.
And it's going to clear $1 billion next week, which is sad.
That is really depressing.
There's not enough out. And I mean, it's more or less because China's loved it. It's made about 400 million in China.
Well, Brinsley's just put, I'm still shocked Aquaman has made more money than BVS and Justice League. I'm not, in all honesty. I think that Aquaman, like, when you get to see it, it's a much safer, as I've just written, it's a much safer and sort of blockbuster appealing movie than Batman v Superman, which was like a 2.5-hour miserable slog. Justice League was just a poorly put together movie, barely 2 hours long. I think that Jason Momoa has definitely had that star power for a lot of people. Whenever I mention Aquaman, that's all everyone talks about is Jason Momoa being in the movie. But it's just one of them. Although Brinsley agrees with you, Man of Steel is the best part of the MCEU film.
It is. DC. I didn't even want it to be. It felt like it was trying to be in the Nolan verse, and then it got recorrected to.
Yeah. Well, they did.
DC.
Every movie is an apology for the last one with DC, and I'm just tired of it. Just reboot it, just end it.
And DC Endgame.
I'm tired of talking about DC. Let's move on.
Let's leave them. Let's move on to Pet Sematary.
Yes, so Pet Sematary, it's a Stephen King horror film. The original movie came out in like 89, I believe, somewhere like that. I think it was the late 80s. It's getting a reboot. It's getting a remake. I haven't seen the trailer for it. I've heard a lot of horror fans say it looks really good. Looks a lot creepier than the original. I think, like, if you go back and watch that trailer, if you're a kid and you watch it, you probably think it's terrifying. When you get older and you sort of watch old horror film trailers, they don't hold up as much. Not all the time, but I think Pet Sematary is one of those instances. But as I said, I haven't seen the trailer for it. It might be all right. I'm usually against horror remakes, or if they do remake something, I want it to be like with a vision and like have its own stamp on it. Maybe it will, but I don't know. I don't know if anyone else in the comment sections watched into their horror films or Pet Sematary or anything like that. The next big one we need to talk about, though, also in April, is Hellboy, which we got a trailer for a couple of weeks ago. I did my reaction on it, but I want to get your thoughts on it because we haven't really talked about it all that much.
I've not seen the original two, so I have a very distinct Hellboy opinion. I heard for years they wanted Hellboy 3. Ron Perlman wanted to do it. Guillermo del Toro wanted to do it. All of them wanted to do it. Didn't happen. And then David Harbour randomly gets a weird London Hellboy film. And I mean, I've never read the comics. I think that's best. I'm new to the concepts and character of Hellboy. I always remember the Hellboy trailer on my Spider-Man 2 DVD. Always remember that. I don't know. I saw this trailer came on at work, and I just kind of watched it, and it looked really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, very. I mean, to the point of Hellboy 1 and 2 has a respected fan base, respected audience. Looked like it had a bit of a budget. This looked cheap.
Yeah,
terrible and awful, and I don't know why it's in production.
it looked like. I mean, I don't want to say like bad mouth Netflix or anything like that, but it looked like a sort of straight to DVD or straight to TV Netflix movie with Hellboy in it. I don't know what tone I was expecting, and I said this in my reaction. I've never been that confused for a long time in one of my reaction videos where the trailer ended and I was just sort of gobsmacked. Like, I didn't hate it, but it was not what I was expecting. I thought it was going to be like, like a darker, truer to the comic book, I guess. And I mean, I haven't read the graphic novel of Hellboy, so maybe this is more akin to the tone. I have seen the Guillermo del Toro ones, and whilst I didn't like Hellboy 2, it still had that Guillermo del Toro imagination in terms of the creature design and everything like that. The costumes were fantastic, and the acting from Ron Perlman and, all the people that played the main cast were fantastic in it. And I think although those films came out a long time ago now, I think Hellboy 2 came out the same year as Dark Knight in 2008. When you mention Hellboy, people still think of those movies, or they think of Ron Perlman as Hellboy. So whilst I'm not opposed to this new one, the tone just completely threw me off. The song that they used in it as well, I love the song, but it was this very sort of upbeat 80s infused Guardians of the Galaxy kind of feel to it. I really don't know what to make of it, in all honesty. I don't think it will be good. I think it's missed the point. But it is a big movie for April at least, and it might. I don't expect it will make a lot though. But I know that Hellboy does have that cult following to it.
And it's got a big moment from EastEnders with a shotgun. If English people know what that is. That was the weirdest thing about the trailer. Was that? Those that don't know.
Was that in what movie was that? There was. Oh no, it was Fast and Furious 8, wasn't it? Or one of the Fast and Furious movies. It was Helen Mirren as like.
Yes, Jason Statham's mom.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, it just looks so out of place. I mean, I don't like, without sounding racist, I don't like when American big blockbusters like just assume what England's like. This is London. They've all got horrific Cockney accents. Here's a weird action scene. It's going to be like a tea shop massacre or something. I don't know. It just looked like that film that wanted to be set in England because it's in England. Like Fast and Furious, like it was just over the top. And it looked really bad. But then we have...
Oh, okay. Here we go. This is the big guns.
Avengers Endgame. This is, without doubt, probably on everyone's top 5 anticipated of the year. We would do. So originally we were going to do a list, but we all knew they were all just going to cross over, so it was half pointless. But Endgame is the one. There's not really much we can talk about it because we could be here for hours, and I'm sure we're all nearer the time. It's going to be, to me, this is, I think Infinity War is the peak of the MCU. I'm excited for Endgame. I'm not as excited as much as I was for Infinity War, and I feel that I don't want to say there's any fatigue. I don't want to sound like I'm saying off at all. To me, this is the end of the MCU in my eyes. This is certainly not just the end of Phase 4, but like a first era as such. I'm very excited to see it. I'm very excited to see what happens. But to me, like, this is like Marvel should have stopped with Endgame. As politely as I can say that, it's a weird thing to talk about because again, it's out for another 4 months. We don't know. We know vaguely what's going to happen.
Yeah,
because there's a Spider-Man film out in July. But Avengers Endgame is going to be the one where everyone's going to flock to see it. There's going to be expectations are going to be very high, higher than they were for Infinity War, and I cannot wait. I trust the Russo brothers. I trust Kevin Feige, but part of me is just there's something missing. But again, it's early days. The trailer just dropped less than a month ago.
Well, superhero films, and I mean, Aquaman's proved they still are very lucrative still at the box office, raking in, close to $1 billion if it's a major hit. And, Disney love that cash cow. It's that Marvel cash. Can't stop, won't stop. So it's not going to end anytime soon, especially now they've acquired the rights to 20th Century Fox. We're just getting started, folks. Like, we've got Fantastic Four, we've got X-Men, like, more is to come. What I like in this too, though, and I know it originally was going to be a part 1, part 2, I still very much see this as a part 2.
1 and part 2.
Yeah. Even with, regards to the title change or whatever like that. But, like, this all roads lead here. This is going to be, I'm going to, like, compare this to, like, your favorite cartoon shows as a kid or, like Power Rangers, for example. Everyone has their incarnation of the Power Rangers. And Spider-Man. Whether you're, like, an original fan. And, yes, Spider-Man's a better example. and you're always going to have that attachment to it. Now it keeps moving on. You get different iterations as it goes on and on as the years go by. Or like Pokemon, for example. Like for me, and that will lead us on to another movie in a minute. Original 151, but then it keeps going on. It brings in new audiences. That's exactly what the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to keep doing. Our Avengers is always going to be Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Thor, Captain America. That's what it's always going to be. And, you know, it's going to move on. It's going to develop. It's going to create a new story. This is going to be that first, 3 phases? I think we're still in 3 phases, aren't we, even with Endgame? That's going to cap that off. That's going to be that one bulk story. And then they'll set something up for probably another 10 years or more. With and then they'll change the Marvel Studios 10 to a 2. And the title won't make any more sense now with a 2 in there. But yeah, I mean, Endgame, if we'd have done top 5, it would have probably been my number 2 on the list or something like that. I cannot wait for it. Whether it'll be as good as Infinity War, and I think it was you who mentioned this, you're hoping that this one won't have any negative connotations once you go back and watch Infinity War, once we see how it's all said and done in Endgame. But as the Russo brothers have kind of directed both of them back to back, I'm assuming they've got that clear vision. So
I hope so. I trust them. I trust Marvel. It's just, you know, when the whole cast get matching tattoos to mark their services, and you all know they're leaving.
Hasn't been done since Lord of the Rings, has it? I think when all the members of the Fellowship got tattoos.
No, and I think Jake's editor said it. I won't be out after Endgame, but I'll definitely be less dedicated. I think that's the fairest opinion.
Mm-hmm.
It's, you know, there's some things I love moving. I mean, we don't know who's going to be in it moving forward, except Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Black Panther, anyone that's got films announced already. Again, which has always been my issue. But I don't know. I'm really excited for Endgame. I'm not trying to discredit it at all. There's just no point going about how much we want to see it because everyone in the entire world wants to see it. You know, we in theory know what's going to happen, but it's about that journey of getting to what happens at the end. Similar to Infinity War, I knew that click was coming. Deep down, everyone did. But it was who's going to go with the click. That's what I thought it was going to be. But I'm very excited. It's going to be easily. I think it's going to make the most money this year. It's a 2-horse race.
Yeah,
it's very hard to compare the two different films, different series, different historic meaning. We'll maybe get to that in a bit, but it's going to be a very interesting year financially looking at the box office, which is always my favorite thing. But I guarantee Disney will get the top 5 again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God,
I think 2 years ago. Could even get top 6 or 7 if they pull off.
Mm-hmm.
But leaving Infinity War behind, we jump into May with Detective Pikachu, which I kind of didn't mind the trailer. It looked better than I thought it would. Still don't know about Ryan Reynolds as Pikachu.
Yeah. So I've actually had a lot of angry Pokemon fans comment on my reaction video that I did for that thing. When I first watched the trailer and I heard a talking Pikachu, especially with Ryan Reynolds, but just the fact that it was a talking Pikachu, I was like, this is wrong. Pikachu is meant to say Pika Pika. That's all Pikachu is meant to say. And I think with Ryan Reynolds, like, we all know he's Deadpool. Like, he has become synonymous with Deadpool. Deadpool is Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. So to hear that voice, that's all anyone's going to hear. I think it's the wrong voice for the character. I know that there is, well, I know now based on like everyone's like horrible, like scathing comments at me, not all of them, but there is a video game called Detective Pikachu with a talking Pikachu in it. Makes sense. But I don't know if Ryan Reynolds is the right voice for it. In terms of like marketing and everything like that, it is. But in terms of fitting the character, I don't think it is. But I am like weirdly intrigued by this trailer. I love the look of the Pokemon, like the real world, like to see sort of like not a dystopian future, but a sort of not too distant future from us where these Pokemon are walking around. But the fact that they do look so lifelike, and this isn't like the 2D sprites that we've seen from the animated show. This is like fully realized CGI, realistic looking Pokemon. Most of them look terrifying now, especially Mr. Mime. But no, there's some great bits in the trailer. There's some like funny little bits. And I love Pokemon. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Will it be bad? Probably. I'm just looking at what the director's done. He did Shark Tale, Monsters vs. Aliens, Gulliver's Travels, and Goosebumps. So it's a mixed bag. He's fairly familiar with like the family film, but I don't know. It could go either way. It will probably be bad, but
it'll make a lot of money.
Yeah, it will. Yeah,
it was announced on the back of Pokemon Go. That's the fairest way of saying what the film is. The trailer better than I thought. Like, so as soon as I was like, "Why is he talking?" And they said, "Oh, everyone else just hears Pika Pika," and so yeah, okay, that can work. It's fine. But I mean, to take Pikachu, it'll be gone, and that leaves us with John Wick 3.
I've just before we get on to John Wick 3, I love what JX Editor's not solution recommendation for voice of Pikachu, Danny DeVito.
Yeah,
who we will be talking about in a later film coming out this year. He's just been announced.
Danny DeVito's having a good year. He's gonna have a good year. I can sense it. I love him. How can you not like Danny DeVito? That would have been amazing. And like I said, he's in Dumbo. I can't wait to see him in Dumbo. He's wearing a top hat again in Tim Burton film.
He's playing another circus ringleader, which is the second time he's played a circus ringleader in a Tim Burton film after Big Fish. Played exactly the same character.
I like him. It would have been great to see him speak. Everyone else doing like Deadpool. It's not the kind of the voice I really want to put up with, because you just know that Deadpool 3 is going to make jokes that he was Pikachu.
Oh yeah, he's going to hold like a cuddly plushy Pikachu in a scene or something like that. Yeah, it's going to happen. Let's get on to it. Yeah, John Wick 3,
Parabola or something like that.
Yeah, there's two different names for this. I'm just calling it John Wick Chapter 3.
Yeah. It's going to probably be like the first two and steal the entire year.
Well, the second one was even better than the first one. I know some people will disagree with that. I think the second one absolutely blew the first one out of the water in terms of its scope and continuing this lore and this world. And the ending of John Wick Chapter 2 might be one of my favorite endings to a movie. Never before have I hit an ending of a movie and immediately wanted to jump into the next one. And the fact that I've had to wait, was it 2 years? Was it how many years has it been? 2 years? It's been the longest 2 years of my life. This is one of the most highly anticipated movies for me of the year. I'd probably put this on my number one, actually, in terms of ones that I want to see. I can't wait for it. Is it going to be more of the same? Sure, but we've got Keanu Reeves on a horse this time, so that's slightly different. I'm expecting more gunplay, hand-to-hand combat, and hopefully a good end, because I want this to be a trilogy. I don't want them to keep milking this franchise. Keep it a trilogy. I know that we've got the TV show coming out, The Continental, which, based on the people that are working on it, I'm looking forward to. But I can't wait for this film. It's going to be immense. Yeah.
I'm still waiting. That trailer should come soon. It's out in May. It's now January. We've only had one official picture, which was him on a horse with a gun, and there was like a stunt video that was released of him on a horse shooting someone, like headshotting someone next to him. It's going to be incredible. I love the first two. They're outright. It should never have been a franchise, but it's turning into something great, something different. The expansion, the whole world building. I remember watching the second one being completely blown out of the water. The first one, I was shocked with, this is incredible. I cannot wait to see what happens next. And like you, leave it as a trilogy. I have one of the finest trilogies in recent memory. It's just John Wick Uncaged, Keanu Reeves Uncaged. You can't separate the two now. I love it. I can't wait to see more.
Then we just need the Raid 3 at some point, hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Back to Disney then. Continuing with May, this is sort of like the tail end of May now. We get to Guy Ritchie's live-action version of Aladdin. I think a lot of people have been torn on this one. The trailer came out, and I mean, it didn't really show us anything. It showed us some environments. It played Arabian Nights and Friend Like Me, getting you into that Aladdin feel. It's going to be Will Smith's Genie that's just killing it for me. And the choice of director as well. We were talking about this before we went live. Guy Ritchie, to me, is not the guy to direct an Aladdin film. It just isn't. Like, I know if they were going with that kind of street level, street rat thieving, and he was trying to like add that same style that he has with some of his British gangster movies, I could maybe understand it. Even his Sherlock Holmes films felt like those kind of movies, but I just don't see that with Aladdin. And, the set pictures have come out as well with Will Smith as the genie to pretty much fan outcry. Like when they see him, he's in human form. He's got like the top knot in the blue outfit. It looks more like the Broadway show version of the genie. And everyone was saying, well, because I was under the impression he was going to be motion captured. They were going to do the big blue genie and it was going to be motion captured Will Smith face. And I think he had to take to his own Twitter and convince people saying like, don't worry guys, like, no, I am going to be motion captured for a lot of it. But we know what Will Smith's like. He likes his FaceTime in his movies. So how much blue genie we're going to get in this movie, I don't know. I expect we're going to pretty much get a human genie like we've seen in this one.
I don't like the look of it at all. I think Guy Ritchie's the wrong choice. He doesn't scream Disney, let alone Aladdin. For a film that's like been thriving off, we've got an authentically cast sort of ethnic background for all of our cast, our extras. With this, you just went straight for Guy Ritchie to direct it, which is kind of bizarre. I think he was the wrong choice for the film. I'm not looking forward to this one. That picture of Will Smith was terrible. again, you know, he might say, "Oh, I'm going to be blue for most of it." So why is the picture got to be of you in human form?
Mm-hmm.
It's a picture of you as the genie. It looks cheap. It looks like the theatre show. Not that's a criticism. You know, the theatre show's done very well.
For a big budget Disney live action version,
say, like, you know, I don't want to sound really like the theatre version is meant to be incredible. I've not seen it. I know people that have that loved it. The costume look exactly like that. It looks exactly like the theatre one, but done as a film, which is, again, we got to wait to see what's like. But Aladdin was never my favorite animated film, like of the Disney's. It would have been something I sort of rushed to see. But again, because I do like these remakes, but this is one that's completely like Maleficent was. You know, I don't even know if that counted as a live action remake or whatnot, but
it was sort of Sleeping Beauty, but it was kind of going off on its own story, wasn't it? Like an origin story of one of the villains.
It was
Glad they stopped that dead. Like, I didn't want to get like a whole series of films.
Oh no, they're doing a second one.
Villain. Well, I know, but I mean, like, in terms of focusing on Disney villains, like the untold story kind of thing, because that would get old really, really quickly.
I mean, yeah, unless you had like a really dark, gritty Gaston war film or something like that, where it's this one-man soldier like John Wick. But no, Aladdin's dead. I think of the three being released, this is going to be the one that potentially, it won't bomb. It'll make the least money out of the three live-action remakes happening. And I think this is one people switch up. And it's coming out in prime blockbuster season, where I think it's going to struggle with. I think it'll be like, a bit like Solo.
Yeah.
We get average reviews, and some people will attend, but it'll be one that people have forgotten about by the end of the year.
Absolutely. But I mean, there's another live action Disney film following right off on the tail of that. So I think that will leave Aladdin very much in the dust. Not onto that movie yet, though. There's one other one sort of, well, actually, there's two big films that we need to talk about rounding off in May with Rocket Man, the Elton John biopic from the same director as Bohemian Rhapsody. Essentially, I know it's credited as Bryan Singer, but we all know what happened there, and essentially you see the movie and it looks exactly like Rocket Man. To me, the Rocket Man director did Bohemian Rhapsody. And I think it will be a very similar film to that. I think it will take a lot of liberties with the Elton John real life story, but I think it will make it work for a film version. If you're an Elton John fan, if you like the music, it's going to be that kind of celebration of his music. I think they'll tone down a lot of sort of like the debauchery side and everything like that. They'll make it more appealing. But yeah, I mean, I like the trailer. What's his name? Taron Egerton. I think he'll do a very good job. It sounds like he's singing in the movie. Whether they'll do a kind of Bohemian Rhapsody thing where they'll have him dub and they'll add in Elton John's real voice over the top, I don't know. But no, it'll be fine. It'll be an enjoyable time at the theatre, I think.
I like the look of it. I think it's going to be good fun. I'm very excited to watch it. The Rocket Man is a tune, so seeing it as a film is going to be very interesting. So I love Taron Egerton. It's got a similar crew to Kingsman. There's a different vibe about this film that I think will be better than Bohemian Rhapsody. But having Dexter Fletcher in I think he's a very good. So I don't say young director. I mean, he's done acting for years. And Bohemian Rhapsody, everyone knows what happened there with Bryan Singer. Probably going to get name dropped and called by Kevin Spacey tomorrow. And there's a lot of stories on that. And for him to take over another biopic, similar era, you're looking, I guess, Elton John like 60s, 70s, 80s, whatnot. I'm intrigued to see how it's done. I think Elton John's on a kind of not career resurgence, but he's doing like a 3-year world tour. He's doing a film. He did the John Lewis Christmas advert, and he's doing some more Lion King songs. The guy is setting up his pension fund very well, and I think a film's going to kind of like cap that off.
Yeah. So we move on to Godzilla. Did you say? Sorry, yeah. I was in the comment section there. Yeah, Godzilla King of Monsters. I'm looking forward to it. It looks like a darn sight better than the first one, provided the fact that we actually get the monsters in this movie. And I think we are going to get that because we've got a lot more of them. We've got Godzilla going up against 3 of his villains, 3 of these like main big bad guys. The trailers have been, I think trailer 1 was definitely better. You really came down on thunder on the second trailer, but I thought the second trailer was still very good. We got a lot more of the action. I like how they're still keeping it very biblical. Like we've got everything shrouded in storm and ash and everything like that with them kind of silhouetted. They definitely make them feel godlike. But yeah, spoiler alert, Godzilla's going to live. He's going to be fine because then we're going to have him fight King Kong in the next movie. And then I heard someone commented saying that, Is it Paramount that have got the rights to this? I forget, or is it
Legendary?
Legendary, that's it. I think that like the what is it? The contract or whatever it is to acquire the rights to Godzilla runs out after Godzilla versus King Kong. So I don't know if that's going to spell the end of this franchise or if they're going to work something else out to keep it going.
I don't know how you can get
about that.
I don't know how you can get past Godzilla versus King Kong.
You do Mecha Godzilla versus Mecha King Kong.
I really like the first Godzilla. I really enjoyed Kong. That was probably one of the biggest surprises in recent years. That was actually really good fun. The first trailer for this was beautiful. The second one, I came down probably too hard on it. I rewatched it a couple of times. There's some things I really like, but I don't watch Stranger Things, so I've got a very neutral opinion on Millie Bobby Brown and all this. I feel like it's going to be like, oh, this is focused on Aaron Taylor Johnson. So this is going to focus on Millie Bobby Brown. You all know her from Stranger Things, so I'll actually focus on her a bit more. I'm scared it's going to be like that. There's a lot of monsters in the film too. I mean, you can't really give background and origins to these monsters, but I feel it reminds me of Amazing Spider-Man 2 that you're going to get the Green Goblin, Rhino, and Electro. This we're getting King.
And then you're going to tee up the Sinister Six movie at the end of the film.
Yeah, exactly. I feel that maybe there's going to be a couple more. I don't know. I feel that they're trying to do too much in the second one. They could have maybe do 2 of the monsters. That's fine. 3's maybe pushing it. And I really want it to be great. It looks beautiful. I'll see that straight away at IMAX. That I love the whole. There's like like an earthquake when this one's doing. There was the tsunami of Godzilla in the first one. I love all them angles. That what is it when Mothra's flying? It looks like there's like hurricanes and stuff.
Yeah,
I love the things like that. That's really cool. I'm intrigued. That second trailer didn't cut it for me compared to that first one from San Diego. And I think that's why I had very different opinions going from there. But I'm excited still.
Yeah. So the last one, we're not even going to talk about this one all that much. The last one that capped off May, Secret Life of Pets 2. I haven't seen the first one. I haven't seen any trailers for the second. Well, I've seen like little vignettes and stuff at the cinema. It's fine. It will please the kids when they go and see it, but I'm not a fan of Illumination animated films. I'm just not. But that will probably be a big one. I know the first one made a lot of money and had a big audience for it, especially on home DVD. Then we have the Enigma in June, which is X-Men Dark Phoenix, which was pushed back from last year. And obviously now things have happened with 20th Century Fox and Disney's acquisition.
It went to February. It went from like June 2017 to then like November 2018 to February 20.
Yeah.
And then they dropped the trailer, and then they pushed it back that same week another 5 months. No one cares.
It's so weird, and we talked about this before, but how a mighty franchise has fallen. X-Men First Class was fantastic. Days of Future Past, in my opinion, was even better. I know some people are very divided on that. Some people prefer First Class. And then that was all just shot in the foot with X-Men Apocalypse, to the point where now, I mean, I'm an X-Men fan. I'll go and see all the X-Men films. I'm not looking forward to this movie. And I think that it's a very sort of like weird placeholder as well for Disney now. They probably, if this movie is bad, and I think like the story got leaked or something like that, I remember reading about that. And, don't hire the same guy to write your movie who fucked up the same story arc way back when in X-Men The Last Stand. Like, why would you do that? I don't understand that. If it's going to be bad, I think that might be bad press for Disney as well now, because they've got to think about the future of their property. Like, if they've got X-Men now and they want to eventually bring X-Men into the MCU, can they stand to have a bad X-Men film be stuck in people's minds before moving forward? Like, is it best to just wipe it out completely? And it's not just this one as well. We know that something's going on. We've got the New Mutants as well, which was pushed back completely. I think one trailer was released for that, and it looked like kind of a horror film, went into a bunch of reshoots, and we'll talk about that later as well. Like, I think Disney should just like release them on Netflix or something and just like let it be done. They should like Jungle Book, the Legend of Mowgli, these 2 X-Men films.
Just get rid of them. I mean, it's sad with X-Men. Like, I don't want to talk about them too much, but First Class, great. Days of Future Past, it sets up the franchise for the future. Apocalypse completely destroyed the franchise's future. Logan was beautiful. Should have just done Days of Future Past, then logo, then end it, then let Disney reboot, because time would have passed. Opinions would have changed. Now it's got to a point where like we're just going to get flooded with X-Men crap. I don't want any more. We don't need any more. Hugh Jackman is gone. Patrick Stewart has gone. I don't think Magneto's in a rush to come back. Let it go. Let it die. Let the past die.
Kill it if you have to.
Just end the misery once and for all of the X-Men saga. Matthew Vaughn saved it, but only for a couple of films. Let's not forget, he is the one that wrote I mean, I love the Wolverine as in that standalone, not Logan, the one before. That was fine. That was good fun. But just let them die. Don't release the film. Actually, save your money. Just save your money. Don't go. Don't release it.
Absolutely. Moving into like the middle of the year, middle of June now, we've got Men in Black International, which I did a reaction for. It looks fine. The Sony logo came up at the start. That kind of was the bearer of bad news when that came up. On the heels of Ghostbusters 2016, which is still one of the worst films I've ever seen. It doesn't look as bad as that, and I think that's down to the fact that maybe Men in Black, although it's a great movie, I love the first one. I wasn't too keen on the second one, and I haven't seen the third one. Ghostbusters was kind of a beloved, treasured franchise, or at least, in the personality of characters and everything like that. This one with Men in Black, you can just get creative with it. And I do like the pairing they've got. I do like Chris Hemsworth and I do like Tessa Thompson. I do think they'll work together very well. They've worked together on Thor Ragnarok, so they'll have that comedic rapport with each other. Thor Ragnarok itself being a very comedic film. Will it be a good film? I don't know. It doesn't look great. It looks like it's still playing on that nostalgia, but I think they're looking for that reboot of the Men in Black. And I think these two guys are the guys to do it.
I think it looks like good fun. They've got chemistry in Thor. You can see that. You can see it in this trailer. They've got a great cast. It looks like it's set in that world. It doesn't look like a reboot at all, which is the main thing. It's like respecting the first couple of films, which is what you kind of want to see. But I just want it to be good. I think it will be a good laugh. But the trailer was a lot better than I thought it would be, which gives me a lot of hope.
What are we moving on to next? So, quick shout out. There's a new Shaft movie coming out with Samuel Jackson. Who doesn't love a little bit of Shaft? And then we move on to Toy Story 4, the big one. Kind of, although this probably would have made my top 5 most anticipated films, in all honesty.
Let it die. Like what we said next time. We had Toy Story 3, the epic conclusion that almost made us all cry.
Almost. I felt like a family member had died after seeing Toy Story 3. I was traumatized by that film.
We don't need a 4th Toy Story film.
And it's this sequel trend with Pixar that's absolutely killing me. When they put out original stuff like Coco or Inside Out, they're great. I love it. And I know they are doing an original film, and I know that they have been on this trend of like prequels and whatnot with Pixar. But did they have to go to Toy Story? We've said this before. We've had all of this, and we haven't had a Bug's Life sequel.
Yeah.
And, there's no awkward things now because Kevin Spacey's character died at the end of that movie, so you don't need to bring him back.
He got eaten alive.
He did.
Is that not fair? Was that justice 20 years in the making?
Is that going to be his fate depending on the trial tomorrow?
I loved Bird's Life. It was such good fun. It was so amazing. And there's been nothing but that kind of funny thing in Toy Story 2's credit scene. There's Toy Story 2 in the credits where they've got the Bugs Life characters and they swap them away. Makes me sad, but no. Toy Story 4, again, when proper trailers drop, I would probably be excited nearer the time. I just don't think this film needed to happen. We had a trilogy, should have been left with that. I don't see what else they can do. If they do, fair play, but there's a lot they have to. I think it's not high expectations. They need to convince people it was worth making.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm not looking forward to it. The trailers that have come out. Well, the first one that came out was just a teaser, and that's nothing that's in the movie. We had that fun little vignette, with what's his name? Jonathan. Is it Jonathan Peele? Is it whatever you said? His name.
Jordan Peele. Yeah,
Peele, that's it. I didn't even care for that really. I thought those characters were really annoying. They were kind of taking the piss out of Toy Story a little bit. I was like, no one takes the piss out of Toy Story with me. You don't make fun of my Toy Story. JXC's put a really cool comment. Is when we're talking about Men in Black, he's put, fun fact, my uncle was in both Men in Black and Ghostbusters. He makes creatures and costumes. He was the grouchy alien in Men in Black, and in Ghostbusters he was Mr. Stay Puft. That's awesome, man. That's really, really cool. We'll have to talk more about that. But there's a movie coming out called Ford versus Ferrari. Now, cars aren't my thing, or drivers. This is very much yours and Tate's realm, and I think this was a movie that Tate mentioned himself that he's really looking forward to this year. You know more about this thing. I just saw the cast in it. It looks like a great cast. It's Christian Bale and Matt Damon, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an Oscar film coming out in June, which is very odd. It's had quite a high budget. It's been in production for a long time. It's about how sort of Enzo Ferrari and the maker of the Fords is their sort of strategic kind of, how do I describe it? Picture Rush, but it's about car manufacturers. It's going to basically be a bit like that. I'm intrigued. It's been in production for a long time, but coming out in June seems wrong. I feel as if that's as good as it could be, then they should be pushing that straight to December to push for that Oscars kind of period. But I'm very intrigued.
And big one now, 19th of July, The Lion King. Now, I think when you said it's a two-horse race between highest grossing movie of the summer, it's Avengers Endgame or this one, right? Like,
I meant the year.
Oh, right, okay.
Endgame. Could Spider-Man? No, sorry, Lion King could push. Lion King could push Endgame. I mean, Beauty and the Beast made $1.2 billion. Jungle Book made $970 million. Lion King is bigger than those. Lion King could easily pass 1.5 billion. That's my bet. And Endgame, without being rude, yes, Avengers is the biggest. It won't make as much as Infinity War.
No,
it's like The Force Awakens versus Last Jedi. There was the hyped one. Yes, everyone will be hyped for the next one, but that was the one. That was the build-up that had this going for it, this, that, the other. Lion King is going to push Endgame. Lion King could become the highest grossing film of the year. It is a three-horse race. Sorry, I completely lost track of that. I mean, we have very different opinions on this. We have done. I'm very intrigued. I love the technology. I love Jon Favreau's Jungle Book. I think Jon Favreau is a very safe director. The main reason I'm excited for The Mandalorian is because he's the showrunner on it. To be able to do both Lion King and a Star Wars at the same time is almost unheard of. But he's in Disney's good books. You know, this is the guy that technically created the MCU. I'm very interested to see this. I can't wait to see more. Zimmer's coming back. Elton John's coming back. Of course, they're going to probably make him do a song with Beyonce.
Jones is coming back, yeah.
Yeah, James Earl Jones coming back. We have very, very different opinions on this, which I'm sure nearer the time will make for a fascinating video, because there's a very big debate to be had about these Disney live actions. And I think this year, you know, my honest opinion, 1 a year was fine. I think 3 years pushing it. I think 3 years is really pushing it. But I said, if you rewind back to Jungle Book, I said to everybody, there is a meerkat and a hog. If Jungle Book works, they will announce Lion King, and they did. And the rest is going to be history. But
there was a stampede sequence as well.
Yeah, it's going to be some of these scenes, if they pull it off, are going to be brutal. You know, I don't know how on earth they're going to do Mustafa's death. Like, of course, we know how you know, animated films work better with covering harsh topics, you know, like death and shots. Like if Bambi was live action, you know, the shotgun shot would be devastating. I feel that
it'd be like bullet time, wouldn't it? It'd be like slow motion, like the book shot just going through.
Oh yeah, like they wouldn't be able to show it, but I mean,
it'd be like the shot from Django Unchained where he like rifles the guy escaping on the horse, and you just get the blood splatter on like the field.
I feel that with Lion King, that, you know, when Mustafa, why do I keep saying Mustafa?
Mustafa. My name is Mustafa, and I am the man who will be killing you now. That's from Austin Powers, isn't it? It's Will Ferrell's character.
I don't know. I can't wait. I'm very excited. It's going to be the Juggernaut, though, isn't it? I love seeing the technology, but I don't know. It's hard not to turn into like an hour debate.
It's going to be that big family movie. It's going to be, you know, it's going to appeal to our generation that grew up with it originally. It's going to bring a new generation in. It's going to have parents. It's going to have grandparents. It's going to have everyone. It's going to make it absolute killing at the box office. For me, with this one, it looks like a direct shot-for-shot remake, and that's what I'm mostly against with this one. The fact that you're bringing so many familiar elements to it again, that adds credence to my opinion of what's the point in remaking it in the first place. If you bring in all these similar elements, if you want the same music, you want some people to have the same voices, same shots, just watch the original. It's still very popular. Kids still watch it to this day. There's a Broadway show going because Lion King is still so popular. It hasn't gone anywhere. This isn't bringing it back. It doesn't look like it's doing much new. It is literally just adding that computer-generated sheen to it. Now, will scenes like the wildebeest stampede not be spectacular on the big screen in live action? That, you know, I guess it will be. It'll be interesting to watch, but I don't see the need for them. But as we said, well, that's going to be a very interesting review midway through this year when we get to Lion King.
When that next trailer drops as well, I'm sure they'll show a bit more. Yeah. As far as the teaser goes, similar to Beauty and the Beast, everyone knows what they're going in for. Get that classic song going, get that build-up going. You know, that first plot, I always call the first trailer like the plot trailer. I want to see what's going to happen. I want to see how they're going to talk. I want to see how they're going to want to look. Yes, Jungle Book's going to have some of them identities, but if you look at kind of Shere Khan in Lion King, that's how I vibe a lot of this. Obviously, tigers are different to lions, but I see it more like that, and how that animation was perfect, ridding Mowgli out of my life. That Mowgli film was not how you do a film like that. I trust Jon Favreau and his team, and I like that cast. It's going to be very interesting. I think interesting is the best word for it at this point, because it's caused a lot of debate online, in our chats, online, neutrals, web, social media, everything I've seen. But everyone shared it. It was the second, well, until Endgame, it was the second most viewed trailer in a 24-hour timeline, 5 mil short of Infinity War. And that just casually dropped with no one knowing the trailer was coming out. No one knew that trailer was coming. It just came out. Everyone knew Endgame was coming. Everyone knew Infinity War was coming. You know, it's very interesting.
And speaking of interesting, we've got to talk about the Quentin Tarantino movie, right? Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. We don't really know much about this. As I said, there's no trailer for it. We've had a cast announcement, and now we've got the title out for it as well, and we know roughly what it's about. It's Tarantino, right? Now, the last couple of movies I haven't loved. I think we were all on the same page that we were very underwhelmed by The Hateful Eight.
I love Django, though. Hateful Eight I had no time for.
Django I thought was very enjoyable, although I don't love it as many other people did. I did think it got a little bit meandering towards the end, and I think tonally, what it was trying to do, didn't quite match up in some points, whether it wanted to be like a serious kind of slave story or if it wanted to be like a comedic one. But nevertheless, it's Tarantino. His scripts usually always absolutely burn off the page. He's a fantastic screenwriter. And the cast, I'm intrigued by the cast. I mean, we've got Leonardo DiCaprio. We've got oh god, what's his name?
Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt.
It's got a unreal. I think it's going to be like Pulp Fiction, but set in 60s film America.
And you just know the soundtrack is going to be again amazing to this film.
I'm happy the big thing for me was it was going to be released on the day of the 50th anniversary of Shaun Tate's murder. They did change that a week before, a little bit better than what they originally had, but that would have been quite distasteful with it being a Tarantino film. You never know how historical accuracy works. I feel that this could be it's certainly got his most impressive cast for a long time. Hateful Eight's cast was fine. It just, I mean, I remember it did the script leak, and it was all over the place, and no one was really looking forward to it purely because of its production as well. And then for Tarantino to go on a rampage and blame Star Wars for Hateful Eight bombing at the box office, that was funny, because imagine choosing to release your film on the same day as the most anticipated film of, well, since The Phantom Menace. I think that's a fair word. You know, it wasn't smart by him. Kind of blame Star Wars. I don't know. I like most of Tarantino's filmography, but this could be a really good. I think he's got the cast. I mean, this is not Brad Pitt. Sorry, this is DiCaprio's first film since Revenant, and he does pick his projects wisely. So I'm very intrigued. Because
Tarantino's got hang-ups with Star Wars, that's why he's joined the enemy and is directing a Star Trek movie.
Oh, I forgot that's kind of in production.
Is that happening? I don't even know. Is he writing it? Is he directing it?
That was so like the R-rated Star Trek film that no one asked for. I don't know. It's going to be very, very weird. But the problem with Tarantino is that the original film I wanted from him was going to be the climax to his Inglourious Bastards and his Django trilogy. It was going to be set in World War II. It was going to be about an African-American soldier that turns on his white counterparts. That was going to be descendant from Django. That was the film I heard years ago. That was the film I wanted to see. We have not seen. Fingers crossed, maybe one day that will be his 10th and final film, as he always says. He'll be 10 and done. Is this film number 9 or 8?
Yeah, no, I can't remember. I think he's pushing. Is Star Trek going to be his 10th movie? Is he going to go out in Star Trek?
I really hope not. That'd be unless he just destroyed the Star Trek universe once and for all and leaves Star Wars: The Conquerors. Then it will. Even though that debate ended like 30 years ago of what was better, some people try and talk about. Yeah. And I think moving Tarantino, we've got that other Spider-Man film that no one cares about. Swiftly moving on to August then.
I can't wait for this one. Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw. This is 2nd of August for us in the UK. We're entering schlocky action movie season, and I can't wait for this movie. I have been won over to the Fast and Furious franchise. It was a long time coming, but I am very much a fan of this now. This is going to be the first spin-off they've done to the franchise, and what a pairing, right? You've got Jason Statham, you've got Dwayne Johnson. It's it's going to be more of the stuff you loved from the last one, but for an entire movie. This could be the new Tango and Cash or any other pairing double bill you can think of. I can't wait for it. I really hope it's good. And it's nice to see that feud's going on. Like, Vin Diesel's going to be really pissed off if this movie makes money. And of course it's going to make money. You've got Dwayne Johnson in there. And it's, you're giving the people what they want, essentially.
The best thing about Fast 8 was Dwayne Johnson and Jason Statham. Clearly, behind the scenes, producers knew what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
Clearly, Statham and Rock knew what they wanted to do. And it was the others, because obviously they delayed Fast and Furious 9 1 year for this to come out, which is why he fell out of the others. This is probably, The Rock's the guy that saved Fast and Furious. Like, they should stay in their lane and appreciate him. I can't wait. It's just going to be so over the top. It's going to be such good fun. Mm-hmm. I can't wait. It's going to be a big hit too.
Yeah. Right after that, and we don't even know if this movie is coming out. We've already talked about it, so we can pretty much breeze past it. But the New Mutants, again, it was one of the other X-Men films alongside Dark Phoenix that's been pushed back. We got one trailer out for it, reshoots, and then it's been shelved. Is it coming out? We don't know. It's got it down as 2nd of August, but that could all change later on in the year. So moving on past that. It's worth noting that there's a Dora the Explorer live-action version coming out, which may or may not involve Michael Bay's involvement somewhere along the lines. I guess we're heading straight to September. Movies are kind of slowing down around this point, but nevertheless, this is going to be another one that makes a lot of money this year. It's Chapter 2. This was one of the most fun movie-going experiences of my life. We went to the midnight screening. It was me, you, and Tayte. And
terrorized Tayte.
Yeah, well, you and Tayte, you don't do horror movies, but Tayte especially do horror movies. Yeah,
we do it for very different reasons. I am not easily scared. I would never, because I sound arrogant. Something like Jaws would terrify me. That's why I can't watch it. But the generic horror film is not like on my list. I don't get a kick out of them. I don't get scared. They're predictable, and it's hard because it's a shame I can't watch the genre. Mm-hmm. I just don't really get anything out. I'm trying to. I've seen some. I've seen many. I've seen a lot of the Saws, stuff like that. Never really done much. I love a psychological thriller, which is the closest you get to horror to me. But there was such good fun. It was so bad. It was so overrated. It was like this Bird Box thing. It was just popular, but it was popular to the people that don't really do film. So they were making it as this like renovating, life-changing experience. But for Chapter 2, the cast looks so good. Mm-hmm. I'm very intrigued, but I want us all to midnight again just to terrorize Tayte.
Yeah. We were like predicting which adult actors were going to play the kid counterparts, didn't we? After we came out, I think we were right on a couple.
I think, did I say Jessica Chastain?
Yeah, I think I said Maggie Gyllenhaal. You said Jessica Chastain. I think Amy Adams was like we kind of shortlisted it down between us, didn't we? It's
a good cast. Did someone predict James McAvoy? I'm sure someone did.
Yeah, no, I think someone did. I think that may have been Tayte, but I didn't love it. Like it's fine. It was fine to watch. It didn't scare me, but I just had such a good time at the movie theater with it, and I just can't wait to see the next one. But that will make a lot of money. The first one did when that came out. It's always weird releasing a horror movie though in September for me. Like I know you're getting ahead of the Halloween rush, but just bring it out in October. There's a Downton Abbey movie coming out in September. I think that Downton Abbey is pretty big in the US. I don't want to speak for all people in the US, but like costume drama stuff. It's big here in the UK as well. I've never watched it. Costume dramas aren't my thing. I thought Downton Abbey was all said and done. I thought they did all the seasons, they did all the specials. I don't think we've had any Downton Abbey content for like the last 2 or 3 years, I want to say.
It doesn't make any sense to why it's come back. I don't know why it's a film. I don't know enough about the series to see if it even warrants being a film. But I don't imagine many people going to the cinema to watch it.
No.
If you've watched it on TV your entire life, why would you go to the cinema? It's not like it's Game of Thrones, or it could be a one-off. Like you need to see that. What reeks IMAX about Downton Abbey?
Yeah. Do we know who's directing it? Like, it'd be great if fucking Michael Bay was directing it or something. Like,
it's like plot twist. It will set during the war. They just bomb that. What even is it? Is it an abbey or is it a mansion? Or
I think it's just a mansion. I guess. Well, I guess it's an abbey. It's called Downton Abbey, but I don't know.
It's being directed by Michael Engler, who has done nothing I've seen.
So like a TV director or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he done a lot of. Oh, sorry, he did a couple of Downton Abbey TV episodes, so that kind of, that kind of says all. Yeah, a lot of TV.
So we're into October now. Now, I did say that John Wick was probably my #1 most anticipated, and I guess it is. But nevertheless, this one has got a lot of good stuff going for it. We've got some set videos come out. There was some test footage that came out of it. And the actual design of the character himself, 4th of October for the UK release date, we've got Joker, which is the standalone Joker movie. Obviously, it's a DC character, but it's not tying, as we know, into like any DCU stuff, because we've got the lovely Jared Leto to take care of that for us. This is Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker. I'm loving everything that I'm seeing of this thing. It looks like it's chasing after the whole Killing Joke type stuff, which is kind of not the only origin story, I don't think. I think usually it's kept very much in the open. But if you're going for a Joker origin story, it's the Killing Joke. I love Joaquin Phoenix. It looks like he's given it his all. And the look of the character is very distinct. It's a look of the Joker that we haven't seen before. In terms of the costume, in terms of the appearance, it looks like it's a mash of Cesar Romero's Joker from the 60s and Heath Ledger's Joker in this absolute winning combination. If he pulls it off, if it's a good film, and I really, really hope it is, I mean, this could pave the way for anything. Is this going to be like a whole Venom thing where we're going to have a slew of Batman villain spin-offs? I don't know, but the Joker is a very interesting movie to do an origin story on, a standalone movie. And I'm very surprised that we actually haven't had one before this point.
I'm very intrigued by this. I think they knew that they got it wrong with Jared Leto, and then rather than just I'm sure he'll be back in this Margot Robbie one, whatever it's going to be called, Birds of Prey or something. Just do a Joker film. And it must have been over a year ago when it was randomly announced that Joaquin Phoenix is in talks for a Joker film. And what was it originally like? Isn't Scorsese one of the producers, and De Niro's in it? And it came out of nowhere, this news. And everyone was like, what? It doesn't really make any sense. Then when the filming started, those set pictures came out, everyone digs it. Joaquin Phoenix is a very smart actor. He only takes projects that he wants to do. He famously declines Doctor Strange because he didn't want to be put on like a multi-picture contract by Marvel. Very smart. Probably done the same thing with DC. And the thing I love about this most is that it looks like it's adapting Killing Joke. And everyone's like, this is your new Joker. I'm just like, this isn't the Joker. Like, he's so going to fall into the pit of chemicals at the end. And the film will finish as the Joker. That is exactly what I hope happens. I'm not that I'm going to get asked if it doesn't, but it just looks different. It looks distinct, but it looks right for what we've seen. It's not so over the top, like the whole tattoo is damaged, all that nonsense. This looks like a Joker. This looks like someone. I mean, Joaquin Phoenix, he's not only a great actor, he's very, very sort of he has a commanding screen presence. I kind of get the view, he can dial it up and dial it down when he needs to. I think he's going to be a great Joker. I can't wait to see how this is done, and it feels right. I don't know if it's the monstrosity that was Jared Leto helped that gap between Ledger to this, but if your history of Jokers is going to be Cesar Romero, Heath Ledger, Jack Nicholson, and Joaquin Phoenix, that's fine. It's a great role. It's a tough role. These guys have, obviously, without stating obvious, but Jack Nicholson, he struggled psychologically after making the film. Joaquin Phoenix, he's kind of that. He has that intensity needed for the character, and I can't wait to see what it's like. I've got very high expectations for that.
And hopefully, we'll get some very over-the-top comedic, Commodus style facial expressions from him, like in Gladiator.
That would be perfect. I think he's going to be great. I can't.
Yeah,
wait.
me too. So we're sticking with October here. A sequel that I have waited 10 years for, Zombieland 2. I think it's officially happening this year. All the original cast are coming back. I know they tried their luck with that pilot episode, which didn't take off, where they were using the same characters but different cast members. I'm so glad that TV show didn't get off the ground, because one of the things that made Zombieland so great, as opposed to being a very well-written comedy film, was that interplay between Woody Harrelson, Jesse Eisenberg, Emma Stone, and I always forget the name of the little girl from Little Miss Sunshine. But they all work together so well. So I'm very glad that we are getting a sequel. Will it be too little too late at this point? I think they should have just chased the other one hot off the heels, maybe bring out a sequel 2 or 3 years after. But they've been very busy. Emma Stone has gone on to win Oscars in between, I believe, and Woody Harrelson's doing what he's doing. But it'll be very interesting. I really hope it's a well-written, because, with comedy sequels, to be as good, if not better than the first, it's a very, very tall order, and it's not very easily achieved. But I'm looking forward to it. I absolutely love Zombieland. It's probably one of my favorite comedy movies.
Oh, Zombieland was great. It took so long, so I'm very excited to see Well, I just want it to live up to the first one, not be like a Dumb and Dumber 2, be sort of faithful. It's set in the universe where there's endless possibilities. You just know there'll be a cameo in there somewhere. I'm intrigued to see what they do, and I'm fingers crossed that it pays off, because it's taken them a long time to get their cast back together, because all of them have gone on to do stuff since as well. But I think the youngest girl, but I don't want to kind of guarantee that.
Yeah, and we had Bill Murray in the first one. You know that they're going to run with that. There's going to be like a surprise celebrity cameo in this second one as well. So there's a new Shaun the Sheep movie coming out, Farmageddon. The trailer came out for that. I haven't watched it yet. It's fine. I like Aardman, but Shaun the Sheep is very much geared for like a very younger audience. And we've got a computer animated version of Addams Family coming out. I've seen the concept art for it. I don't think it's the finalized designs. They might be. It looks very much like a Tim Burton film, although he's not directing this, which is a shame, because I think that Tim Burton could have done a great job with like a stop motion animated Addams Family movie. It's got a good voice cast. I think it's got Charlize Theron. It's got Oscar Isaac. I love the Addams Family, and I'm very glad they're not doing like another live action version, because to me, you can't top that one from the 90s in terms of the cast. But I'm looking forward to seeing this, and maybe they can get a bit more creative and a bit more kooky as well with the stuff that they can do in it being an animated film. November, Terminator 6. We're almost at the end of the year, and is this
another Terminator 3?
Yeah.
We have this discussion.
How many times have they tried to kickstart like, no, this is the true version of Terminator 3. No, that one sucked. This is the true version. I mean, James Cameron bigged up Terminator Genesis. He's producing this one, so he's going to be bigging up this one probably. He's going to talk.
He'll say, once again, this is the true sequel to Terminator 2.
Yeah.
While in the background, there's like a logo screen where he's still making Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5. And at the same time, he's still slagging off superhero films. At this point, there'll be one nominated for Best Film at the Oscars, which I'm sure will go on lovely in James Cameron's house. Why does everybody keep flocking to see these? Do they not want Avatar 2, 3, 4, and 5? He shouts at his wall. I can't wait for Avatar 2 to come out just to see it financially.
Dude, it's been 10 years this year that Avatar came out. No one gives a fuck. No one's talking about Avatar.
There's still not an Avatar 2 trailer. I just can't wait for when the film comes out. Though, if anyone ever saw that classic British TV series, Come Fly With Me, it's like a sketch show. One of the characters is like Avatar 2. It's going to be the best film in history. This is 2009. This is filmed. It's a classic like sketch show. And whenever the day Avatar 2 comes out, the meme will be around the internet, but it's not going to come out, is it?
No.
I don't know what's happening. He's literally wasted like 10 years of his life talking about Avatar 2, promoting Terminator films.
He's painstakingly like crafting like a new Na'vi language or something because he wants it to be like as invested as possible.
And no one's going to, like how in Star Wars, like if there's like a background character, somebody will come up with a Wikipedia. James Cameron's doing all of that himself. He thinks he's the J.K. Rowling of the Avatar world. But, she released her books every 2 years.
Yeah.
He's done nothing.
Is it going to be like, it's going to be like the Jurassic Park meme, isn't it? Like, see, nobody cares. Like,
yeah, it's exactly going to be like that. And it's just when he pops out, like he either pops out to promote Terminator or slag off superhero films.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, stay in your lane. Titanic was overrated. Titanic was rubbish. Yeah. People went to see that film for the last half hour.
It's the best made, worst movie of all time. That's what I always call Titanic. It does have some.
I didn't know if you meant Avatar as well in terms of like the CGI or.
Oh, I hated Avatar from day one.
Yeah, we talk about these live action remakes and like Lion King. Isn't Avatar 1 basically like Pocahontas?
Yeah, exactly. Like it's Pocahontas. It's a slew of different movies. Last Samurai, Dances with Wolves, anything like that. Terminator 6. I know Linda Hamilton's coming back. I know Arnie's coming back. I don't give a fuck about this franchise anymore. Terminator to me is a 2-film franchise, although Brinsley has said that he didn't think there was anything wrong with Terminator 3. I enjoy Terminator 3. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as people say it is. Yes, most of the film is kind of almost like a direct remake of Terminator 2, but I loved like the whole ending to Terminator 3. I thought it was absolutely beautiful. But I just want this franchise to die and never come back. It's done.
It dies and it comes back. That's what makes it worse.
I think if there's any quote that like we've repeated the most this movie year in this stream is "Let the past die, kill it if you have to." And I'm going to say it again. I just want it gone. I don't want Terminator back.
Apparently, sorry, I had a quick Google. Avatar 2 apparently wrapped on November the 14th, 2018.
Yeah, but he's like filming 4 movies back to back. Like they're never coming out.
Wait, Disney are distributing it?
Yeah, they've got like a Pandora ride, haven't they? At like,
Of course they do. No, they did Avatar World.
yeah.
Put this into perspective. Disney created an Avatar theme park before the director could do a new film. Let that sink in. Like, that is not just the power of Disney. That's the absurdity of James Cameron.
Oh, don't count him out. He'll probably like release all 5 movies or whatever he's doing in 1 year. It'll be like the new like Marvel Cinematic Universe.
What about if Disney bins them to like Netflix, like Mowgli?
It's very interesting. Right, moving on because we're almost at the end. We've been going for a very long time on this video. 8th of November, we've got Kingsman, and I can't remember the subtitle of it. It's Kingsman 3, but it's a prequel this time around, right?
So yeah, Kingsman 3. So what? There's a rumored cast online. There's no sort of plot details, but Matthew Vaughn said in an interview in November that it's going to be like the foundations of the Kingsman thing. So it's Kingsman 3, but it's really a prequel. I think they're going to really like smash this out into a big film series. There's talk they want to do a TV series about the Americans that were in Kingsman 2. They obviously, after this one, will be doing the proper third one with Taron Egerton. I mean, why not? Like, you know, you see all these franchises that get milked. Something like Kingsman has that room for expansion. And yes, 2 wasn't as good as the first one, but there are things in place for them to progress. The only downside is you can survive headshots. But I'm excited to see the cast they put into this. I am very intrigued by it being a prequel. And I can't wait to see what... I mean, it's Matthew Vaughn. I like Matthew Vaughn. It's one of my favourite directors. I think he's great. The Kingsman's his baby. They can do what they want. I'm intrigued to see what they do.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the second one at all. I was very, very disappointed by that. But if it's a prequel, it could be very interesting. And the cast, like the rumoured cast at the moment, is an amazing cast. So I'm sure it'll be good. We're almost there, folks. We're almost there. Frozen 2 is going to make all of the money. I think it's the highest grossing animated film of all time. It got an absolutely ridiculous cinematic run. And because it has ice in it, because it has snow in it, it's also kind of chasing that Christmas market as well. It's going to make an absolute killing. We talked about this in our Wreck-It Ralph review, though, in that I really don't like this current sequel trend to Disney animated classics. I know that the Disney animated classics have had sequels in their main line before with the likes of Fantasia 2000 and Rescuers Down Under, but this is like a new modern business model, essentially, of Disney, and it's like we're going to get sequels to Moana, we're going to get one to Zootopia, probably in very quick succession, with not much original content in between. I didn't like Frozen. I think it's without a doubt one of the most overhyped Disney movies out there. Yes, it did have the songs, and the songs were very popular. Whether they're going to be able to capture that same... I don't think we're going to have like another Let It Go, for example, with this movie. I think they'll try and chase that. But because I didn't care about the first one, I don't care about this one. I'll go and see it because it's another Disney animated classic, but I didn't care for Frozen at all.
I hated Frozen. I saw it. There was loads of hype. I watched it. I did not like it at all. I don't want another one. I don't like Disney animated. I mean, I'm not the biggest of like the animated fans. I've said that before. Don't like how Pixar's done sequels, and don't like how, you know, when Disney announced the slate, you had Wreck-It Ralph 2, you had Frozen 2. I'm sure there was another sequel in there somewhere that they're trying to do now. Get some original films out, because when their principality is original films, yes, you can do the sequel, but when most of your slate are sequels, that's noticeable, and your original ones stand out from that crowd.
Yeah, absolutely. Right, we're into December, final month, very, very big month. I think we're going to save the big one till last, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we've got Jumanji 3, or Jumanji Welcome to the Jungle sequel. They've just announced, I don't know if it was today or the last couple of days, that Danny DeVito is going to be in the movie as a new cast member. If Always Sunny in Philadelphia is anything to go by, adding Danny DeVito into the mix is always a good choice. I really enjoyed the first one. Was it a fantastic movie? No. Did I have a good time at the movie theatre? Yes. I think that the comedic chops with all of the cast members, they worked really well with each other. I love Jack Black and Kevin Hart as well. I thought he was great. I'm looking forward to it. And, you know, like the first one, you know, we had this image in our head of what a Jumanji 2 would look like, and it was nothing but bad news. Then the trailers came out, people started warming up to it. It actually looked pretty funny. The final product was good. So if it's the same people on board, again, it's comedy sequels though. But with Danny DeVito in the mix, I'm sure it'll still be great. It'll probably be on par with the first one.
I just want it to, you know, the only thing to me that of course they might just me, but they went into the video game in that first one. I would love it and they became them characters. I'd love it if the characters came into the real life world. because then you'd have, The Rock actually playing who he was meant to play, not the teenage people. I think that'd be a really cool swing. That'd be very interesting. But announcing Danny DeVito is going to be amazing. I cannot wait. We've got Dumbo. I mean, if Jumanji makes this year, it's not started filming yet. I hope it does. It did very well up against Last Jedi. I'll give it credit to that. And it wants the challenge again of going up against Star Wars, which is kind of the end, the final film of 2019, the big film. This is going to be the one. We've had plenty of discussions, I'm sure.
Oh, we have, and we'll have many more this year.
I was going to say, as the year progresses, we haven't had the title yet, which is due in the next couple of weeks. I'm excited. I know you are going to even have differing opinions on that. I just can't wait to get... I mean, I know you've not like the Disney era, but what can't be denied is that December, last month, you felt the absence of a Star Wars film.
Did I?
Do you know what I mean? Like the last couple of years,
I get it.
Like there was something missing in December, that big film that you had, Hobbit. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea, but for 7 years you had a Hobbit. No, sorry, 6 years. Yeah. You had a Hobbit or Star Wars film out every December. You always had that December release. There was nothing last month. Aquaman's made 900 mil because no one capitalized on this big gap.
Mm-hmm.
Solo should have come out in December. They could have had a real marketing campaign. They could have fucking had that December slot and made a lot more money. But they failed because they were self-obsessed with getting that May release date back. May's Avengers now. Leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
They've had their lessons. Episode 9, Colin Trevorrow getting sacked. Good. I don't think... I mean, I know you don't care for the trilogy, but especially Tayte, none of us wanted them on that episode 9. It was a quick hiring and bringing JJ back. I know you didn't like 7 again, but it was the right choice being involved within that trilogy, being on the right side of Lucasfilm. I can't wait. It's going to be very interesting, I think. As similar to Lion King, the build-up's going to be very interesting. I'm interested for the title, the trailers. I want to see what's changed or what's going to be different. We know it's going to be set a year after. John Boyega let that slip in an interview. And it's going to be, quote, the end of the Skywalker saga. It's going to be an experience. I think that's one way of putting it.
They already fucked that saga up completely with The Last Jedi. But I don't want to go into it because, believe me, we could be here for hours. We could do a live stream debate right now and we'd probably be going for like 3+ hours. Like, honestly, we could do that. I didn't like Force Awakens. I didn't like The Last Jedi. I didn't like Solo. This is the first time.
You love Rogue One.
I enjoyed Rogue One. Yeah, I went.
You loved Rogue One.
I loved it. But it's diminished slightly the more times I've watched it, but nevertheless, I still went to see that movie 6 times at the cinema. So yes, I did love Rogue One, and I still, without a doubt, will say that's the best thing that Disney have put out since they've acquired the rights to Star Wars. But I just don't care about any of these characters. I don't like the way they've taken the story. For me, The Last Jedi was the pits, and I didn't even like Force Awakens anyway. Last Jedi was going to be that movie to win me over. And it didn't. This is quite honestly a sad moment because if I was doing my top 5 of the year, I wouldn't, highly anticipated movies, I wouldn't have Star Wars on there. I want Star Wars to go away for a long extended period of time and come back when it gets its balls back. And it's not Star Wars fatigue. Like, I thought it was fatigue, but like that Vader fan film came out like last week or whenever it was. I know you turned your nose up at it. I know you didn't like it. That felt like Star Wars to me. In that 15-minute short film, that gave me that rush, that sense of loving Star Wars that I haven't had in any of the Disney Star Wars movies apart from Rogue One. So episode 9, I just don't care. Like, where's the story going to go? I don't know. I know that J.J. Abrams has sort of like got a course correct with a lot of stuff. I don't think they had a plan for a trilogy. I really don't. You can tell they've been making this shit up as they went along. Maybe some ideas of where they wanted the characters to go. To me, it's a little too late. I know, as I said, like I'm going to leave it at that because I know that we could debate it for a very long time, and we will. But we're still going to do like a midnight anyway, aren't we? Probably in London or something. Like it's
triple bill, Chris.
No, I am not doing a triple bill. I don't know how I made it through the double bill. I am not doing a triple bill. But yeah, I mean that's sort of like the big one that's going to cap off the year. There's a couple of other ones. There's like a Sonic the Hedgehog movie with Jim Carrey as Robotnik. Like it's Jim Carrey in another movie. It's nice to see if he makes a comeback. But no, Star Wars rounds up the year, and that has been our very, very long video on our 2019 in film. There's probably a lot of other films that are going to come out in between that aren't listed, or like the bigger Oscar ones, but I mean, they don't get much hype anyway until Oscar season at the back end of 2019. But yeah, that'll do it for our live stream. Thank you to Brinsley. Thank you to JXC. You've been with us since the beginning of the stream. That's really, really cool. And I don't know how we're going to round this up. I mean, we're just beginning 2019 now. We've had our break. We've had our Christmas and New Year's break. So it's time to get back into it. And have actually been discussing a lot of things to do with the channel and what we want to do sort of midway through the year and ideas that we've got in order to get the name out there more and sort of, you know, I won't say that we've sort of settled with the channel, but like the last year just gone, but we've got a lot of ideas of how we really want to push it this year. I don't know what the next movie is out. Like, I haven't been like keeping track of cinema or anything. I guess it's the Oscar ones. It's probably the favorite at the moment.
Yeah, the favorite, Glass and Vice, I think. I mean,
yeah, I should know because we've just done a video on it.
But, I think the favorite I will see eventually. Glass is. I need to get Unbreakable split out of the way. They're probably what's going to be next. In fairness, I don't know what on earth. I don't know what on earth is on my phone. I'm not actually. There's actually no apps open.
Caribbean, isn't it?
I don't know. There's no apps open. That's terrifying. But that's very terrifying. Where were we? Yeah. So it's probably going to be Split and Unbreakable, and then Glass. Oh, it's such a weird trilogy.
It is.
It's intriguing. It's intriguing.
Especially because we haven't seen them. I think that would be some good reviews to do, especially going back to them. But yeah, that'll probably be our next video. If there's any trailers that come out, I'll be doing trailer reactions again, as always. But yeah, big thank you to everyone in the comments. JXC, I will check out your video and I'll send you an email, dude, and we'll set up a live stream at some point. That'll do it for us. And until the next video, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.